Hi guys, welcome back to Future Dimensions 360. As you know, in our last tutorial, we had learned about the actions for Redux. So although now we had learned about the JavaScript app and actions. Now it's time to learn about reducers. What are reducers? So what are reducers actually? Reducers are those who specify how the app's state changes in response to the action sent to the store. Any kind of action that we had created, an action object in our last video, what type of action we are sending or we are dispatching actually from our application towards the store, that will let us know that what kind of implementation or changes will happen to our state object. Secondly, functions like reducers are a kind of functions that accept state and action as an argument and returns the next state of the application. How we can do that? In the form of this: an action or an arrow function that takes two parameter, previous state and action, as an input and returns a new state. So how we'll do that in the code? Let's go ahead to our Visual Code and try to identify how we can do that. What I have to do here is we have to create a previous state and then action, and then it will be returning new state. So first of all, what we need here is we need a state actually. So previous state will show us always a state, and we don't have any state in our project until now. Keep it in mind, we are implementing our cake shop example. So what will be our state? The state will be the one, for example, just imagine or let's assume that in our cake shop, our shopkeeper wants to know about the number of cakes that are available inside the cake shop and each time. So what we have to do here is we have to identify an initial state const. I can say initial state, and the initial state will be the one number of cakes, for example. And initially I will say whenever the shopkeeper opens a shop, there are 10 cakes available on the shelves. So our state will look like this. So let's move forward and try to create a reducer. Reducer is nothing but just a simple arrow function const reducer. Reducer is nothing but just an arrow function that takes two parameter as an input. Which two parameter? The current state. You can say current state. If there is no current state passed, just take by default initial state. Okay. And an action. Okay. So what will be our action? So these two parameters we will take as an action. What we have to do here is switch. We will be needing switch statement, and that switch statement would let us know in this action object there is always one parameter or one key named as type, action.type. If action.type is what case, what will be our case? We can say if action.type is action type, or I will keep this name as, for example, instead of buy cake, we can say it will be, for example, we will say like this, buy underscore cake. That will be better because there will be a lot of action, so we need to give some name that is useful for us. So what we have to return here is we have to return a new state that says number of cakes equals to current state dot number of cakes minus 1. We have to reduce 1 always. In case there is no case like that match to our created actions, either buy cake or anything else, it will be you have to return just an initial state. That's it directly. So what we have done here is we had created a very simple and basic reducer, in which we are taking two parameters as an input. One of them is current state and the second one is action. Action is an object that have type always. You can pass other things as well. Later on we will discuss in the coming videos. You will get to know about the second or third the third keys values of action object. But currently just keep it in mind, we will have always a type of action and there are certain types of action. In our case that is by cake. You should have a lot of other types as well. It depends totally upon your project scenario or complexity. Currently we are implementing cake shop, so we should have only one case, that is by cake. So I had created by cake already here. Then whenever customer buys a cake, you have to return what? You have to return a new object that represents a state, and that will be removing always one cake from your current count of number of cakes. So in your current state number of cakes, for example it's 10, you have to remove 1 and the new one will be 9. Keep it in mind that initial state or the state object is always not in single key. Right now in our scenario we have just one key inside our, or one variable or value inside our initial state. But in real scenarios there must be a lot of keys available in initial state. So just keep it in mind. In that scenario what you have to do is you have to use spread operator to copy your state first, current state. Always copy all the keys of your current state and just start implementing the functionality later on after copying or using spread operator, doing shallow copy of your all the object, and then you can update whichever key or whatever key you want to update, whatever functionality you want to implement. So that's it. We had implemented our very basic and first reducer for Redux. I hope you guys understand it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. We'll be coming up in the next video with further details. Take care. Goodbye.